If you look at the 3-year moving average, Bitcoin has gone up every year if you're using a 3-year moving average. And I think it's just becoming undeniable that it is a force that especially now that institutions have to consider it as a new asset class, because we've also put out there, I actually put it out in 2016, Bitcoin ringing the bell for a new asset class. We showed the correlations of returns. The correlations still, even though traditional investors are getting involved.
Cathie Wood, the founder and CEO of Ark Invest, shares her views on Bitcoin, emphasizing its role as an innovative technology, a new asset class, and a hedge against global macro uncertainty. This summary focuses on her comments about Bitcoin, its potential, and its place in the broader investment landscape. Ark Invest began investing in Bitcoin in 2015 when it was priced between $200 and $250. The only way to gain exposure was through GBTC. There was significant resistance from traditional financial services firms and even the New York Stock Exchange. Initially, they were only allowed to allocate 1% of their portfolio to Bitcoin and faced pressure to sell as its value increased. Before we delve into the video, if you want the latest crypto news, market updates, and expert insights from the top minds in the industry, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Stay informed, stay ahead, and never miss an opportunity in this ever-changing world of the financial market. Thank you for subscribing to our channel.
2014 was our first blog. 2015 was our first white paper. And we gave our clients exposure to Bitcoin, GBTC, at the time the only thing we could use, in 2015, between $200 and $250. Oh, by the way, we faced so much resistance. We had to ask permission. We had to ask the New York Stock Exchange permission to put it in. I don't know all the rules and regs, but they said, okay, yes, but only 1% of the portfolio. But they didn't tell us that we had to sell it if it went higher. So we just never sold it until the end of 2017, where other regulations and the pushback from traditional financial service really hit. We were scaling our business, meaning our ETF business, which is all around all kinds of disruptive innovation. And so, boom, but we were not getting on platforms like Merrill, Morgan Stanley, and others because our flagship had Bitcoin in it. And so we then decided, okay, we're going to keep it in next generation internet, but flagship right at the top, $20,000. Better lucky than smart. In Big Ideas 2025, I guess I'm promoting that quite a bit, but there is a page where we're talking to traditional financial services, and I don't know if you're referencing this, but we list the assets and their compound annual rate of return over the last 5 years, all of the major assets. And we put in there the Sharpe and Sortino ratio. So if you don't do quantitative analysis, modern portfolio theory, all of that, you're probably not going to care about that, but they do. And I think it is beginning to turn heads because, if you look at it's not even the 4-year moving average, which would capture the cycle, but the 3-year moving average. Bitcoin has gone up every year if you're using a 3-year moving average. And I think it's just becoming undeniable that it is a force that especially now that institutions have to consider it as a new asset class, because we've also put out there, I actually put it out in 2016, Bitcoin ringing the bell for a new asset class. We showed the correlations of returns. The correlations still, even though traditional investors are getting involved, the correlations with other assets still very low. It's absolutely essential that institutional asset allocators take a look at this asset. If they don't, they're not doing their fiduciary responsibility. So we're trying to help ease them, provide a bridge. Okay, we're talking your language. Bitcoin is not only a technology, it's not only one of the biggest ideas ever, the global monetary system, rules-based, digital, private, all of that. But it is a new asset class. And when you present investors with those three and they're not knowledgeable enough, it's a little bit threatening, or they feel a bit vulnerable. So we are trying to bridge in with, okay, we're going to talk your language. You need to look at this new asset class. And if we have a world, which we believe we've entered, where 5 major innovation platforms involving 15 technologies are converging and disrupting the entire traditional world order. Well, what in that world? Now, I'm very confident in our research and in our projections, but if I'm someone who doesn't do what I do all day long, and I'm studying all the ways to hedge against, all the uncertainties out there, ground shifting underneath us technologically, geopolitically, what is the one thing I am certain about? I am certain about 21 million units. I am certain about that. And there have been, for those of you, I don't know if we have an economics-oriented audience here, but Art Laffer actually helped us write that first white paper on Bitcoin. And he said, after he agreed to collaborate with us, and he said, this is what I have been waiting for since the US closed the gold window in 1971. He's been waiting, he's 85 now, I think. This has rejuvenated him. And he's proselytizing to the rest of the world, El Salvador, Suriname, he was in Argentina. And he's beginning to help them understand how important this source of certainty will be to them. And one of the biggest things that has surprised us, when we were brainstorming about Bitcoin in the early days of Ark, our working assumption was that the early government adopters of Bitcoin would be in the emerging markets, because they live in such a chaotic world that is, they are battered every now and then by the dollar's appreciation, and which, they've got a lot of dollar-denominated debt. They run their countries on their own currency, and they're losing out constantly. So I've been very surprised that the U.S. really, yes, El Salvador was there, but the U.S. is leading the charge here, and I think it's going to serve us very well over time. I actually think this is, I started in the business, I was in college in the late 70s, but really here in New York in the early 80s. And it was the Reagan Revolution, and he was changing. The 70s were just a horrible decade. And so there was a similar kind of an election and a willingness to change. I think we're well known for our Tesla research and our Tesla position. So I don't speak to Elon that much, but when we talked about this topic, I said, government spending is taxation. Government spending, that's how you sell this. Surface everything that you find out there, because we haven't done that. We haven't cleaned house in so long. And I think, Elon is relentless, and he's got a boss who's also relentless. So I do think it's going to be successful. I think it's going to drive huge increases in productivity as well.
Wood suggests that Bitcoin provides healthy competition for the US dollar, influencing monetary policy, and potentially coexisting as a reserve currency. Cathie Wood presents a compelling case for Bitcoin as a transformative technology and a valuable asset for investors. By understanding its innovative potential, diversification benefits, and role in hedging against uncertainty, investors can make informed decisions about incorporating Bitcoin into their portfolios.